Okay, so back in the VAB, and we need to troubleshoot the instability that this particular launcher seems to be having a problem with. It seems having a problem with stability. Now I suspect, as I said before I entered here, before we came in here, I'm suspecting it's because we've got fuel in this tank exactly the same way as the sounding rocket problem that we had with stability. As far as the sounding rockets were concerned, as we saw when I clicked on each of the parts after the breakup on the last launch attempt, this tank was about a third empty, and this tank was as well. But I don't think it's just one tank. I think it could also be upon with this as well. 1396.4 kerosene in that, and liquid oxygen as well, 2259. That will also have been the third down, or partially down anyway. And this will have emptied at the same rate. And that's the thing about Kerbal Space Program now. KSP used to look at a launcher as if it was one large tank. At least so if you attached a tank vertically on top of another one, KSP would view that as the same tank, so it would drain the entire stack from top to bottom. Now it's completely different. It's actually draining the tanks regardless of where they are in the vertical stack. It's not true in the lateral stack because you have to enable crossfeed. But of course that doesn't have crossfeed enabled because it doesn't have that ability. Some parts do have the ability, well, some decouplers do have the ability to enable or disable crossfeed. That's something you have to be careful with some of the vertical decouplers as well. So what they've done now, if I right click on this motor, fuel request overlay. Alright, so right now we have fuel flow overlay enabled, and 20 is a number of priority, and that is the same. Now there's some conflicting information out on the internet as to how you prioritise one tank over another. Some information I've read states that the higher the number, the higher the priority, which means the higher the priority, it means that that tank will empty before any of the other tanks with a lower number. But some people seem to say it's the other way around, that the lower number increases priority. So rather than messing around trying to figure it out and take another 18 days, almost 19 days, by the time it's rolled out it's talking 20 days, and I only have 51 days remaining on the sounding rocket contract. Not fantastically important, but I don't like to lose a contract. The other contract for Vanguard 1, there's no time limit, so that's fine. But regardless, I just don't want to take like the next 6 months to sort this out. So rather than taking a risk of building this launcher again and having it crash because of exactly the same problem, because I don't know, maybe this tank will empty first before this one. So I'm going to do what we are going to do. We're going to learn once and for all exactly how to prioritise one tank over another. So I get this tank emptying first and this tank emptying after this one is empty, rather than emptying at the same time at the same rate. Now it could be that you put 1 there and 2 there. This could just empty twice as fast as this one. This will still empty at the same rate. If that's the case, then I'll have to figure something else out. But I don't think that's how it works. So what I'm going to do, be a few seconds for yourselves, could be quite a while for me to figure this out. So rather than me messing around and trying to figure things out for myself, what I'll do is I will create a test platform. I will just choose a small engine, put maybe four tanks on top of the other, put some fuel in, attach it to a clamp, build it, send it out to the launch pad, disable the fuel pump on the clamp, And, well, obviously, basically, I'm going to set the priority up. So I'm going to put 10 on the lower tanks. Maybe put 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So 4 tanks. The bottom will have 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll see exactly which way. If it empties from the bottom to the top, then we know it's the higher number that needs to go at the bottom tank. And the higher number needs to go at the tank that we want to. Increase priority by decreasing numbers. So that's first priority, or increase the numbers and increase priority. Well, that'll be 2 ships from the launch pad to the VAB, and then back up to the VAB and reverse the numbers around. But we will learn. That's the most important thing. So that's what I'm going to do right now. But as you can see, both these are on 20. I mean, I could put that down to 10, launch it, and it could work. They could all be wrong. I could put this down to 10, and it'd work. And the other way around, it would crash. So we'd know. But it's going to take 20 days for each launch. And I can't waste that amount of time. It's not the money that's the problem. But it's just the time. I can't take the time to do that. So I'm going to create a new piece of machinery, new platform. So I'm going to do a test platform. Just be a very basic platform. I'll bring you all back in. Be a few seconds. So I'll bring you all back in, show you what I've done, then we'll set priority. Then we'll roll it out. We'll test it. If it works, cool, that's great. Then that priority, however I set those priority numbers up, that will work. That works. If it doesn't work, we'll come back in and reverse it back around the other way. Then it should work. But either way, we'll learn once and for all. So, I hope this will help people figure out exactly whether you're playing stock or Realism Overhaul, whatever you're playing. Because the fuel flow priority works regardless of whether you've got a mod installed like this full suite or whether you're just playing stock. Okay, so I'm going to build a test platform and I'll bring you all back in. So a few seconds. Okay, so here we are. It's very simple. Well, I said about 4 tanks. I've actually put 8 tanks because I used the Oscar B and they're only very tiny. So what I've done, as you can see from the fuel overlay, it's just a AJ11. I'll use that because it's got no runtime limits. So I can keep that running, refill the tanks. Well, I can extinguish it actually. It'll just ignite from the... I believe it should ignite straight from the clamp as many times as I need it to. So what I've done, I've deliberately used lower numbers. So I've set this as priority 0. I don't know if that's going to be a problem. It could stop fuel flow altogether, but we'll have to see. It's going to take 3 days, 7 hours, so almost 3.5 days. But when I recover this, I will need to build it again, so that'll cut down to a fraction of that, maybe on just a few hours. So the lowest priority. So basically, what I've done, this is the first version. This is the first lot of information I got. Well, when I was trying to read up about fuel flow priority when it first came out, and I could never understand what on earth it was talking about. Because they seem to, as I said, it's conflicting information. One said high number, higher priority. The other one said high priorities by lower numbers. So it's one or the other. So I want to find out exactly what it is. So the lowest tank is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And when you set that, just click on the tank. You see at the bottom of the tank, just there, bottom of the tank. I mean bottom of the overlay. You got fuel priority. Right, this is 0. It says plus 10 in parenthesis, in brackets. I have no idea why on earth. And that means 0 minus 10. What that actually means, I have no idea, because it is confusing as heck. So I don't blame anybody who doesn't understand it, because I don't understand what on earth they're talking about. It's got to be the most over-convoluted way of doing things I've ever seen in a game. It's pretty simple. Fuel flow priority in numbers. Now it should be the lower number gets a priority, but the lower number needs to be at the bottom of the stack, because it needs to draw fuel only from this tank. So all you need to do really is tick which one you want to draw the main stack from, and tick which ones you want to flow into this tank, in the lower tank. So each one of these will flow into the lowest tank. That's what you really should be able to do. So you tell the game, I want this tank to drain first, then this one, this one, this one. This tank will drain into here. It's actually drawing from this tank all the time. But these are all emptying into each other, from the top to the bottom. That is basically how it should work. But we're going to find out. We'll stop griping and we will find out. I've limited the thrust, but it makes no difference. As you can see in the you can actually modify the throttle on these. So it's throttle locked. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of that. No reason to do anything. I'll put rigid attachment on, I might as well. Okay, so let's find out exactly what on earth we need to do. So right now this is 0, 1 through to 7. So I don't think there's any alerts. We'll just take a quick look. No, high transonic, you don't say. High supersonic drag. Well, that's because it's got no nose cone on it. But never mind. Right, so I'm going to call this fuel, FF. No, FF, 1F, 2Fs, fuel flow, priority, test, platform. So that's what we're going to call it, FFPTP. I know, I'm not too good with names, to be honest. Alright, so I've got the first there. We don't ever want that. Can we disable that? No, we can't disable that staging. That's a shame, that. So just remember not to press the space bar twice. Alright, so let's build this. So this is the first version, 0 through to 7 on priority. If it drains from the bottom and the top, so the top there, the top tank is the last one to empty, then we know it's the other way around. And also I don't want them emptying. Let's say this one empties at normal rate, this one half the rate, this one half the rate again. I don't want that. I want them all to empty into each other. I don't want these to empty at all until this top one's empty, then that one, then that, then that, then that. I want it to drain from the top of the entire stack, not little bits off each of these, but the most amount of fuel being taken is off the top tank. I want it to be absolute that, and that, and then finish with that. All these tanks, once this starts to empty, all these tanks should be emptied in sequence from top to bottom. If it does work how I'm dreading, which is exactly what I just said, little bits off the lower tank, and this just gets a high priority. This maybe 50% empty. This is then 25%. This one is 7.5%. Not 17.5%, 17% or so. Then this tank is like 8-9%. Then no, I don't want that. I want it to be absolute emptied from the top to the bottom. Alright, well, no point yakking about it. Let's go out to the overview, build this, roll it out, and then test this. Okay, because there's one thing we don't want. We do not want to visit Mr. Cockup again. I never said that. We don't want another mess. We can do that all, we can do that forever. So it's best if we learn exactly how this stuff works. Because as I said, I've never figured out what on earth I was talking about. Some people said high numbers, some people said lower numbers. But if it's how I'm dreading, I'm hoping it isn't how I'm thinking, but you don't know. I hope it's absolute, as in top to bottom drain from one tank then to the next. I don't want it to sort of take little bits out. Sort of partial sort of priority. I want it to be absolute priority. If it is, I have to figure something else. I'll just take the nose clones off and just extend the boosters slightly. That's all you can do, really. Okay, let's go to the launch pad and let's see if this one works. If it isn't, now reverse it. Check the other way. So we'll go to the launch pad. Okay, so here we are. So we've got a tiny amount of each fuel. Anyway, so obviously I don't actually need that. So I don't think it, and when I do that, I don't even know why it even did that. Alright. So this engine is going to end up, revving up quite rapidly. The fuel pump is on right now, which isn't a bad thing, because if I tap the space bar, I can't actually do that when I've got these windows open. So I need to figure out a way to see, and I know a really good way. Well, this is another way you can actually prioritise tanks with tap fuel balancer. But that's only if the tanks have got separate fuel in, and these ones have. It's -1. So this is a way that you can set it up at least, I won't say, you can set all of these upper tanks to out, and then this bottom tank to in. But it won't stop it from feeding the engine if you set it to in, but it will stop it from feeding the other tanks. So all these other tanks will feed into this bottom tank. That's the one way you can do it. That is one way. But every time, you can't save this. You can't save this setup. So every time you come up to the launch pad, you have to do exactly the same thing, and it can get rather laborious. But you can set this one to transfer out. Should be around, shouldn't it? That should be in. As I say, if you set that to in, it will still feed this motor. It won't stop the fuel from reaching the motor. And you just select all these other ones and transfer out. If they're all sector out, they won't be actually empty into each other. That is one way of doing it. But as I said, you can't save that setup. You can't save it from... You have to do that every single time you come up to the launch pad. And also, it says fuel balancer, but you can actually do electric charge as well. Alright, so this is the first version. Let's get going. So I'm going to turn the fuel pump off. What we can do with tap fuel balancer, we can actually look at where's the fuel. Take a look on that. So this is actually quite. This is why I chose this motor, because we're not losing. We're not oxygen, but we're certainly not hydrogen powered either. So we're not losing any fuel at all. It's just a pure chemical as opposed to a liquid gas. Liquid gas. I mean a liquid fuel, as in a gas which has been condensed or kept at temperature or kept at high pressure to keep it a fuel state, a fluid state. So I need to just figure out which is the top one. You can do that by clicking highlight. So that is the top one. So I would imagine all of these. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. So this is top to bottom. So if we see these numbers, 100%, any of these numbers change before this is empty, it doesn't work. I want it to. And that will teach us that we can't use this. So, let's go. So 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Perfect. Straight away first time. Then a second tank. Then the third tank. And so on. So that's perfect. So it doesn't matter. So as long as you have a higher number in the higher tank, that will empty first. So it's higher to lower. So the higher the number, another way. So the higher the number, the higher priority. So you can have quite an intricate set of tanks set up to feed fuel. Different concentrations, different levels of fuel as well if you need to. You have different sort of engine configurations. So that's perfect. Well, first time. So that's what we need to do for the booster. At least that, if that's what's causing the problem. If it's not, then obviously we'll have to look at something else. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that that's what's causing the problem. Because we saw the same behaviour from the sounding rocket nose cone when it had fuel in. Okay. So that's it. So set your lowest tank to 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or just a high number basically. You can set that to 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, whichever number takes your fancy. Funny that, because the probe core is actually working, it's not using an electric charge. But then again, it's just wired in, I suppose, it's not actually being separated, so that's fine. Okay, so that's fuel priority setup. So I hope that's helped people, because it helped me figure out, because I didn't have a clue whether people was actually correct or incorrect. So that's it. So higher priority means that tank will empty before a tank with a lower priority. So you could reverse this and have it emptying from the bottom through to the top. That won't cause problems, will it? No, of course it won't. But you could do that if you wanted to. Or if you have laterally attached tanks. Obviously you always need to remember that you need to enable crossfeed if you have a decoupler between it. So you have drop tanks, which point you can drop the tank, and then you can set those drop tanks to higher priority than your core tanks, but still have your core tanks prioritised higher to lower. So that's it. So higher numbers mean higher priority. So they will empty before the tank with a lower number, regardless whether they're in the same stack or another part of the craft or whatever. So that's great. Okay. So I'm going to recover this, and I'm going to get on with the Vanguard 1 launch, and then we can check to make sure those solar panels are actually working. Those solar panels should be working, as far as I know, but we'll check them. Okay, so that's the entire craft recovered. I don't think there's anything actually, there's no loss there either, as far as I can see. Alright. So yeah, as I said, I wouldn't blame anyone for being put off from using anything to do with fuel priority, because I was until then. Until then, I've never even bothered with it because it would just confuse the heck out of me. So I never actually bothered, I just used the structure of the craft. As in, I just put one single tank, no empty nose cone or whatever, and I just accept whatever happened. So yeah, so now we know. So I hope that helps people if you're having problems with that. So that's the higher priority, means that the tank will empty first. So a high number means it will empty first before anything with a lower number, regardless of where it is. As long as it's not cut off with either a vertical decoupler or a lateral decoupler, and you haven't enabled fuel crossflow. So that's good. Alright, so let's head back into the VAB and sort this launcher out. Okay, back in the VAB. And what would be a good idea is when we found that out, is that instead of messing around setting up all these individually, what's a good idea, especially when it comes to some like lateral boosters, is to set up your fuel flow with this first booster, then set them up using this is cycle symmetry mode. So you put it into 4 or 2, which point its settings, its fuel flow settings, will be copied over to its clones. So that's an easier way of doing it than the way I'm going to have to do it myself. I'm not going to strip this down, it's going to take too long. So I'm going to set these do not enable crossfeed. So there's no crossfeed, so there's no way fuel can go across there. Let's prove the point. I bet it shows it, doesn't it? I bet it does. No, it doesn't. There we go. Alright, so we've got 0 there. That's another piece of information as well about test flight. If you put your engines out onto the launch pad and test fire them, you know, like NASA does and the Russian space program and everyone else will test their engines, they test them for runtime, also reliability. If you do that in Realism Overhaul with test flight, you'll actually accumulate points, data points, which you can then spend in here. Let's make it up. Why is it not letting me get over this window? No, never mind. So right now, part flight data meets or exceeds maximum lab R&D amount. So we need, we've got 115.3 mix MT. That's manufactured, tested before fail, MTBF. We have 2007 to 36.18. I don't know if that's how much you actually need or how much you actually sort of have accumulated. Lock window. There we go. So there we go. Burke. Never mind. So you can accumulate more points to spend, at which point it increases the reliability of the engine, but only up to a certain point when it comes to the actual tech level you're in. Now, I have no idea what that point is. Alright, so anything else? Oh, I've got LR105N now. That's the other engine, isn't it? Is that better than what I've got? Well, it should be. NA103 is the one I'm using right now. Like NA105 NA-3. So I'm using the -3. This is the -5. Costs 2,000 more. It's a bit of a... It's a nice chunk of change extra. For 2 extra points in ISP at sea level. But less in a vacuum. 352.2 kilo... Wait, no, hang on a minute. I'm doing it the other way around. So this is generating right now 352 points. I'll do it at sea level, so it's 245.058 kilonewtons. This is 366.1. I think that's in the vacuum. I think it's only telling you the vacuum. It gives you both figures for ISP, but only gives you 1 for the actual kilonewtons as in thrust. But it increases it by another 20 seconds. From 5 minutes and 30 seconds to 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Interesting. But I think we'll sort this out first before we start messing on upgrading engines. Alright, so fuel flow. So there's a fuel flow for that. So as you can see, they're both at 0. So they're both the same priority. So I'm going to set this one at 1. It's pretty simple. Don't want to go stupid, do we? No. Fuel flow priority. And I'm going to put this to 1. I'm going to go there's no point in putting any high numbers in because there's no more tanks. But I am going to empty the tank. So the tank is detecting other motors, as we can see. So I need to... Oh, good grief, I shouldn't have done that, should I? Why'd you empty it? I have no idea why I emptied that. 38.2. Well, so it's this one, so it's the up one. 38.2. And these are 38.2 as well. So which one's the 0.1? 61.8, I'll go by that. Yeah, 61.8. So it's 61.8 as well. So there's not much difference, is there? One says 0.2 and the other says 0.2. So which is which? What on earth? Oh dear God, why did I do that? So in other words, I'm going to need to do a couple. Remove these motors. That's great. That's great. Thanks very much. Why did I do that? I have no idea. Why did you do that? Oh, good grief. So, I don't believe this. I wonder if the other one, is this tank set up correctly? I've no idea. It won't tell me. And that should be on. Alright, so, yeah, it's the same. 0.8. So I'm going to take it as if this is the core and they're the boosters. That's the only thing I can do. I'm thinking the highest point is that one directly. The one that's laterally attached, or the ones that are laterally attached, are the ones on the second button down there. So I'm going to put them. So I'm going to assume there's only 0.01 of a difference. It can't do much different. Can't make much of a difference to the flight time. So bloody pausing on me all the time. That's annoying. And that is annoying as well. Oh, of course, I've got the verniers, haven't I? Yeah, like I said about those, I'm not sure whether they actually go here, as in the top on the bottom, because the top is facing us. Whether they go on the side, I can't imagine going on the side because they'd be too close to the other boosters. And the Titan, the Atlas launcher did have laterally attached boosters. At least I think it did. One of the pictures I've seen of it, it did. The Titan, I think, took its boosters with it because the sort of aerospace engineers realised that it would actually cost more in weight to actually have decouplers to actually decouple the boosters. So it was actually more energy efficient to set the boosters with it. So the boosters were actually included in the core tank, the actual core structure. It wasn't attached like these. I don't really think much of that, but it didn't need that much of a kick. It only needed a kick just to get it off the launch pad. Alright, that's the priority set anyway. So I'm gonna just, obviously this will be the same. I'll get rid of this overlay. So if I'm taking too long, I'm boring everyone, but I like to make sure everyone understands. I mean, I like my playthrough to be somewhat of a tutorial for people who are a little bit sort of, as I've said before, a little bit sort of put off. Oh, there we go. I'm actually trying to play it with Realism Overhaul, but that with a fuel flow priority is something that you'll come up against that even if you're only playing stock. Just gonna set this one exactly the same way. Where is it? Right, well, let me display both of them. So that's got 20, not 0. Well, I'm not going to mess around with it. I'm going to leave it at what it says, just there. I'm going to just increase this to 21, because if it, I mean, it's quite possible that the game could then misconstrue. If I put 0 here, it could misconstrue the idea that this is being fed from the central tank, or this is feeding the central tank. It may ignore the status of the decouplers. It could ignore the actual term that the decoupler will state. It does not want fuel crossover. So it's not a fuel pipe. There's no fuel pipe going between here and here. So I don't want that to happen. That might be something to check as well for at some point. As in, put a laterally attached set of tanks and then see if putting them all at 0 causes them to drain into the central tank. As in this 0, that 0, and this, it could do. So I'm going to risk that. So I'm not going to risk that at all. So I'm going to... So I'm going to do the same thing with this. I don't need to actually have the overlay on anymore. Set that to 1. So that's... Wait a minute. Hang on a second. Whoa. So it looks like... Crikey. It looks like it's actually... So that's good. So it looks like... I didn't want to do that, did I? What on earth is going on with it? It seems to be when you start sort of... Oh. I don't know why it's causing... What's causing this pausing? Well, that's wrong. How the devil's that happened? It's like when you start sort of messing around with... Yeah, the menus, the game's pausing like heck. So that's something to watch for. So fuel request. What is this? Yes, assume you can't actually display all of these overlays at the same time. That'll be much easier. So that's 21. Now I never touched that. So it would appear. But if I change that. There we go, it's paused again. So if I change that to 22. Let's go and find that field overlay. Actually, it's on the new tanks as well. So that's on to 22. So yeah, so anything laterally attached will be mirrored. So that's good. I thought maybe you had to sort of reset them up and then attach them laterally. You know, as in cloning them through a lateral connection. But that's fine. That's good. Alright, so this should be already set to +1. Yep. And that should be set to 0, which it is. Alright, so we're all set. Now hopefully Vanguard 1 is going to get off the ground. Alright, so I'm going to save that. Like I said, you can use tack field balancer to do much the same thing, but you don't get to save that to the model. With the VAB's field priority overlay, with its field priority settings, you can save that to the model. You don't have to keep messing every time you go to the launchpad. If you use tack field balancer, you have to like, every single time you go to the launchpad. You can't set this. You actually can't set the setup and then save it. You can't do that. Okay, so that's 18 days. 13. Let me just check this. Is there anything to be applied? Oh, saved a few hours. Not many. There's at 13 hours. So I said about 4 hours or so. 4 hours or so, maybe 3 hours and so many minutes. Right. Let's build this. Right, let me just check priority. Is it detach the... Yeah, those verniers will be good for what the verniers are used for. It's also to boost attitude control, but mainly it's to adjust final velocity and attitude. Which is what I did with the Sputnik 2. I had to reignite those verniers. Alright, let's go and build this. Alright, so that's 4,008 funds. 18 days, 13 hours, 46 minutes and 39 seconds. I've got 51 days or so remain on that Saudi rocket contract. But the Vanguard one's fine. Okay, let's go and roll this out. We'll build it and roll it out. Okay, so even if this ends in disaster, I still have enough time to build another one. So OX2 has entered Earth's atmosphere. Okay, so it's going to take 15 hours. It's going to be night time. So I'm not going to launch it at night time. There's no way I'm launching at night time. That's just asking for trouble. So it's the 14th of October 1953. We're still well ahead of schedule compared to real human space. Not real human, well obviously real human space. We haven't even started that yet. That'll be fun. Zoom forward. It is winter, so the sun will come up. Not too far. Well, it's only, I'll say it's early winter, isn't it? Maybe late autumn to some people. So I've got survivability still. National complex. Got no. I don't expect to have any. Like I said, I'm going to start putting funds into the space plane hangar because I want to start doing some aircraft at some point. Okay, let's go to the launch pad. Alright. So this should be it. This should stabilise. It should be stable. So 10 SAS on. I'll set this up. We've got plenty of gimbal. So I can't imagine that's the problem. But there's always the possibility of things not working how you think they should. Yeah, it's included a decoupler. Well, of course the decoupler is included on the other side of the sphere. So if I turn this fuel pump off, yeah, so what's going on there? That this one's keeping up with the... Right, so we're losing liquid oxygen. That's exactly why when I did the test for the fuel flow setup, why I didn't use liquid oxygen. Ah, fuel pump on, it says fuel on there. Generator nominal. Generator is off. So I've got electric charge being produced back. Oh, I didn't realise that. That's actually quite handy. So this one only provides. That's weird. So if that this only provides fuel, how come these? Oh, never mind. Just messing around. Let's go on with it. So we've got quite a few. That's ESAT 3 OX1 Pro. So that is still the booster. It's in a slightly eccentric orbit, maybe? I don't know, we'll have to look at the tracking station at some point. We have missed the moon now. Yep, 386,348.3 kilometres and getting further away at this point in time. Let's not mess around, let's just get on with this. Right, so there we go then. Here's a big test. Full throttle, SS is on. I'll let this take over exactly as usual, as per usual. So I'm going to back away a little bit because it was pretty damn nice. I'm going to talk over the top of the engines because you can't hear me anyway, so what's the point? Alright, so umbilical tower will decouple and then I'll ignite the main engines. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, I have no idea what is going on now. I have literally no idea. Looks like something is becoming unstable and it's breaking free, maybe. I can't see anything here though. There's nothing here. I can't see anything broken free here at all. So I don't get it. There's no reason for that to become unstable like that. It just appears to be, it could be something to do with remote tech. Because other than that, I have no idea what's going on. It could still be the fuel in the top part of the tank moving about. Because they are using default tank configurations and not balloon tanks. So it could be moving about. But that, I have no idea. I mean, everything seems to be okay. Nothing failed. Lift off, tank proceeded to fail due to aerodynamics. Well, that's obvious because it tipped over. First of all, it tipped over back towards the west. And then it tried recovering. It recovered partly and then it tipped straight over. And went completely the other way. So I'm going to have to figure this out. But I think the main priority is to finish this contract off. So I'm going to get rid of those tanks. Get rid of the fuel in those top tanks. In fact, get rid of the tanks altogether. Just put some normal sort of lateral boosters on. Just modify the boosters that are actually there basically, and just clean it up and just, because that, I don't understand that. That's all I can do. Right, let's go back to the VAB.